Well, the United States just had its deadliest day so far on the record with the coronavirus, reaching 570 deaths within the last 24 hours, toppling more than 3,000 people. New York, of course, is the most heavily hit from this, reporting a 14% increase in cases, as, of course, infections have soared from 9,298 people to 75,795 people, and the deaths have risen from, again, 332 previously to now 1,550. One thing is sure is that this is increasing in its severity, in the amount of people that it infects, and that's why in this video, me and Tim Picciott will be documenting all the latest developments socially and politically happening, of course, with the coronavirus. And one of the biggest stories unfolding right now is the fact that CNN anchor Chris Cuomo, the brother of New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, has tested positive for the coronavirus, and he is saying that he is suffering many of the symptoms for it. He just released a Twitter message saying specifically, quote, "So, in these difficult times that seem to get more difficult and complicated by the day, I just found out that I am positive for coronavirus. I have been exposed to people in recent days who have been subsequently tested positive, and I had fever, chills, shortness of breath. I just hope I didn't give it to my kids and Christina. That would make me feel worse than this illness. I am quarantined in my basement, which actually makes the rest of my family seem pleased. I will do my show from here. We will all beat this by being smart and tough and united." The most interesting part is him saying that he will continue somehow this CNN show in his basement.
I was really nervous there for a second that I couldn't get more Chris Cuomo, so I'm really glad he's continuing that.
Now, of course, we're not fans of CNN, to say the least, not fans of Chris Cuomo, but of course, we wouldn't wish anyone anything bad. But that's the situation developing right now, with a lot of people's attention on a lot of famous people who are dealing with this, who, of course, are getting the best coverage that they can. Meanwhile, a lot of other regular people still predominantly can't get tests, can't even find out what's going on with them. But again, this is a story that, of course, a lot of people are paying attention to, since, of course, it involves someone in the public eye. And, of course, with Chris Cuomo also being the brother of New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, this is why this story is galvanizing a lot of attention. And I'm curious what people think about it down in the comment section below. But, Tim, that's not Cuomo, of course, from CNN is in the news, but his older brother, the New York governor, also is in the news all the time, doing daily press conferences that the mainstream media is picking up. And now there seems to be a new war of words between him and the U.S. President Donald Trump. Why don't you tell us what's going on there?
Yeah, so there's a war of words between Trump and the older Cuomo over here. So apparently, what is really going on here is that it's always, government's the answer. What's the question? How can we get more centralization of power? And everyone's, turning into like a he said, she said at the moment over here. But what we're taking a look at is Cuomo of New York has to do more, the president tweeted, talking about Trump, without elaborating. And then Cuomo then fires back, I have to do more? No, you have to do something. You're supposed to be the president, Cuomo posted. And, then he goes on to say, this is Cuomo, happy to do your job too. Just give me control of the Army Corps of Engineers, and I'll take it from there, Cuomo posted. And then on the press conference call, Trump told the governors that they shouldn't rely on the federal government to provide respirators and ventilators for people infected by the virus, according to the source familiar with the conversation. And then Trump goes on to say, try getting it yourselves. And basically, I really do, and that actually was one more here, quote from Cuomo. It says, you will have people on gurneys in hallways, Cuomo said in a press conference in Albany before the call with Trump. This is what is going to happen now if we do nothing. This is what is going to happen if we do nothing. And that, my friends, will be a tragedy. And so, as, we've seen time and time again, it's always, we need big daddy government to come in, and it's only that one person, that one Superman, that one Iron Man to just come out and be able to solve the problem for everything. That is what we need as a country. And I think that's exactly not what we need. I mean, if you are the governor of New York, and this goes for anybody, not just picking on Democrats, not just picking on New York. not just picking on Cuomo, but why does everyone always wants to make it seem like it's always somebody else's job to, take care of what they didn't do themselves? So, if you're running out of food, how come you didn't go and get food, ahead of time? If you don't have masks, I mean, what, you could have got them for like $5, years ago when it wasn't a big tragedy. And I know that there's other stories about how that there was money for ventilators that were supposed to go to New York, and then they used the money and squandered it into other areas. And so it just seems to me that it's just, more of, we need big centralization of power. If only, the government had even more power, then this would be, even a bigger deal. And right here, I'm in Arizona, and they just had the governor over here who shut down the state as of tonight. Will be on a stay-home order. But luckily, that stay-home order actually doesn't have really too much teeth to it. So it's basically like, hey, we've basically have deemed every single job in Arizona essential, and so basically there's no teeth to it. And now you've got liberals who are calling for, oh, well, this needs teeth to it, and what we need here is we need basically the police to come out and arrest you and shoot you if you're outside of your homes. And so it's just that's just one thing that kind of gets me with all the fake liberals, is that they will cry about police brutality, but then want to create more laws that then have people with guns enforce those laws, which then leads to the same police brutality that they then decry against. Not to take a little, deviation to that, but it does seem with Trump, Cuomo, that they are trying to. My speculation is that they are going to have a brokered convention. Cuomo is going to be the guy that comes in, steps in, because he's been acting quote unquote, presidential this entire time, and that he's going to be the one that ends up taking it. Is my prediction, Luke.
Well, these are very extraordinary times that we're dealing with, and it would be nice if, politicians would put politics aside, put their ego aside, and stop bickering with each other and actually do the right thing and make sure that this is handled the right way, in a professional way. And so far, I got to say, not a fan of Governor Cuomo, but he's been treating this situation very earnestly, and there's no denying that he's been talking very bluntly, very honestly. He's been telling and sharing information that a lot of governments have been trying to kind of keep on the DL. And he's really, up until this point, because now he's doing the whole political fighting thing and bickering thing. Same with Trump, political fighting and bickering. No time for that right now. I don't want to play politics right now. I want to make sure that we do the right thing for everyone. I want to make sure that we have enough good information going out there to everyone. And if you look at Chris Cuomo, he was the one saying, sorry, Governor Cuomo, forget about being quarantined, forget about martial law. He's really been doing these daily press conferences, which even the national news have been picking up, because he's been willing to share a lot of the information that usually governments kind of keep to themselves. So up until this point, I think he's handled it somewhat way better than a lot of other governors that have either taken too much of aggressive steps or not enough of steps to actually deal with this entire situation. Now, there's another war of wars that's happening, and that's happening inside of Amazon right now, the company that's run by billionaire technocrat, some say evil genius, evil villain, Jeff Bezos. And the big arguments that are happening inside of Amazon are between the workers, not the robots, the workers, and of course upper management of Amazon. And there are strikes happening right now at major Amazon delivery sites in Italy, in the United States, and those workers are being fired because they are organizing a strike over the virus. And I think Amazon, again, should be seen extremely critically. I think Amazon deserves a lot more criticism that they've been getting, especially with the encryption breaking technology that they've been developing, that they want to give over to government, especially with the facial recognition technology. I mean, when you look at Orwell, Amazon is pretty much the Orwell production factory, and that's how we really need to see them. And now I really do believe, you might disagree with me, Tim, here, but I think Amazon is overstepping their balance, because some of the things that these workers are striking for are basic safety precautions to take during this extraordinary situation. They're saying, hey, let's close down the facility and clean it at least for an hour once a day. Amazon is saying nope. And of course, a lot of Amazon workers are getting sick with the coronavirus because, again, the virus could live on surfaces. Amazon workers are in these huge warehouses with robots everywhere. The way that Amazon treats their workers, I mean, is just, is just absolutely disgusting and draconian. And simply cleaning the facility is something that should be done, should be taken seriously. And if you really look at the record that Amazon has, holy cow, you would never shop from them ever again. Try to avoid Amazon as much as you can, because they are a sinister, deep state, military industrial complex wing of just the supposed private sector. But in reality, when you look at the tentacles that expand from Jeff Bezos, they expand to a lot of places, and you should be worrisome of them. That's my take on this Amazon situation. Anything else you want to say on that, Tim?
Yeah, no, I'm guilty just as everybody else of getting quite a few. Almost all my shopping, I hate to say it, is from Amazon. I mainly do that because I hate going to the store. So you won't catch me at a Walmart, you won't catch me at a Target, any place like that. Every now and then you might, maybe once or twice a year if I have to. But yeah, I am trying to decentralize my life as much as possible. But
eBay's less evil, technically.
Yeah, I mean,
Craigslist.
That's all, it's starting to get into, if there's any one thing I'm guilty of, I've moved away from Google quite a bit. I'm just mainly doing DuckDuckGo and pre-search, using Brave browser. So there's all sorts of ways to decentralize your life, but I'd say the biggie for me is I still am, addicted to Amazon, how easy it is. But with that said, they should be treating the workers a little bit better. And we have it up on screen right now where we're showing, treat your workers like you treat your customers. And, but the thing is, they are big corporate welfare recipients. They get, all this money from, discounts from the post office. There's all these unfair advantages of things they're able to do. And it's really just create this whole race to the bottom mentality where everyone else, they've even, one up Walmart in this sort of respect. And so, and Amazon as a company really doesn't even make any money. If you actually back out of now they make a lot of money in gross revenues, but their profit is almost nothing. And if you take a look at what their profit is I think there was a quarter in 2018, or maybe it was the beginning of 2019, where Apple had actually more profit in one quarter than Amazon had their entire existence. Because if you take a look at their profit, it's like all the way up here, and then the profits all the way up here, or other way around. Yeah, they have huge revenue numbers, barely any profit, and if it wasn't for the CIA cloud contract, then they wouldn't even have that revenue, that profit to begin with, which now I think Trump was trying to then award one of these Jedi contracts over to Microsoft as sort of a dig over at Amazon, but then now Trump is then being countersued by Amazon. And so, yeah, all these politics are at play, but, the one thing is that a lot of these big corporations, a lot of these people that personally hated Donald Trump, they've actually made out like bandits during all this. So, that's, one thing that sort of gets me is throughout all this, but yeah, I think that's my final take, Luke.
Yeah, Jeff Bezos also sold off a lot of his stock right before the crash. Miraculously, somehow he knew something was happening as far as, allegations of insider trading. The way that the workers are treated, I read some reports of workers having to pee in bottles because Amazon management literally times people on their bathroom breaks and doesn't allow them to use the restroom when they need to do. That's how severe of kind of slavery that we're seeing from this monolithic, huge company that, again, is getting an unfair advantage on the market. Jeff Bezos is also asking for bailout money, by the way. They're getting such an unfair
do you know
advantage
who the
on the market because of government intervention.
Do you know who the largest recipient of bailout funds was in 2008? If you actually take a look at all the aggregate companies that they control, do you want to know who the largest bailout recipient was in 2008? It was Warren Buffett. So, basically, we're bailing out the richest people in the world. This is something we see time and time again. There was a secret 2008 bailout that was actually $16 trillion that Mark Pittman uncovered from a FOIA request. And what we saw is it basically went, it took, basically they're stealing money from poor people and then giving it to the richest people in the world. So, Bank of England, boom, you get hundreds of billions of dollars. Gaddafi's central bank in Libya even got billions of dollars. All these other rich individuals, they got, billions of dollars. And meanwhile, we get 25% interest rates. And, by the way, you can't defer anything, but here's $1,200. And meanwhile, for that, family of four, we're going to give you $3,000. But by the way, we're gonna, we tax you. We're giving you $60,000 of debt for every family of four. But here's $3,000. So we get the chicken feed. They get, it's socialism for for the big corporations, capitalism for the poor. And this is crony capitalism, or, a bad joke I'm making is crony capitalism. And they've definitely not let this crisis go to waste. I'm much more concerned about the government's encroachment. And like I said before, now I'm in Arizona and I'm being ordered that I can't even leave my house, after today. So just crazy situation going on.
Yeah, meanwhile, everyone else is getting screwed over as we have video coming out of Pittsburgh. I don't know if you could pull that up, Tim, showing just the hundreds of cars waiting to receive some food from the local food bank in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So as we're all suffering economically, it's time to call out the robber barons, the thieves, and the big government technocrats that are benefiting off of the massive human suffering that is happening right now. We're going to be talking about the economic impacts more on the next video. Stay tuned for more here on Change the News.